Hello and welcome to a REDCap training session. This is Patrick from REDCap for VCU. Today's topic that we'll cover on are record dashboard and logs. Some of the key points we'll be covering will be logging and downloading entire log, record to Microsoft Excel, record status dashboard and displaying status, adding and editing records, download PDF of instruments, and basic data entry. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our project setup page. Okay, and the first thing you want to do is to make sure you have logging enabled and the ability to edit any records in the record status dashboard as well. And by default, you will have the ability to edit the record status dashboard. But let's go ahead and take a look at our user rights to make sure. Okay, and let's go ahead and enable logging under other privileges. And you will also have the ability to create records, rename records, delete records. To also give others the ability to edit server responses, be sure to click on the check button for edit server responses as well. Let's go ahead and just enable this for all forms and save changes. Okay, let's go into our record status dashboard. Okay, and the first checkpoint we're looking for is logging and downloading the entire log record to Microsoft Excel. And to do this, we go into our applications in logging, which is located on the left-hand side. Okay. And on the top right, you'll see download entire login record to Microsoft Excel, and this will be a CSV file. Yeah, you can usually save the file, but to look at the demo, we can go ahead and open this. All right, let's get a better view. So the 3 or 4 main rows that you'll see, or the 4 main columns that you'll see, will be time and date. That is when the record was edited, the username of the individual that edited the or managed the project. As you can see, server respondents or anonymous users will not be listed, and they will only be listed as a server respondent. The action of the user, such as managing design, downloading data export, or updating record in general. And a list of changes or fields exported. And there's not exactly a sort of key to tell you in REDCap what exactly everything is kind of labeled for answer choices, but some are self-explanatory. But for checkbox fields, such as this one, we'll go ahead and take a look at our online designer as well. But for checkbox fields, it would be the variable choice. Since it's this one, this would be the third choice, and it equals checked would be the answer is checked yes. And for this pet v2, this would be the 7th choice checked. And let's go ahead and look at this for a record 1. And the other place to look at our records would be under Add and Edit Records, and we can look in our instruments as well. Okay, let's click on record 1 and modify instrument. As you can see in the variable name pet v2, choice 3 and choice 7. Go back to our record status dashboard. As you can see, and it would also be a good idea to have your record dashboard and open just in case in a new window or tab, just to be able to kind of get a understanding when learn the basic data entry process if ever you're looking between logs and the record itself. So you can see choice 3 is checked, choice 7 is checked. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to our next point, into record status dashboard and displaying the status. Okay, just a general legend or key for status icons will be in the top right corner. As you can see, red is incomplete, the yellow is unverified, and green is complete. As you can tell, these three involve data entry logs. And you can see in the records, this is different from survey responses, which would show instead incomplete, partial survey response, which is a orange check, and completed survey response as a green check. And the gray circle icon just basically tells that the form of the status is incomplete, which would show up as a 0 in the logs. And this is different from the red status icon, which denotes incomplete, but has had data entered into it. And a special note is that the gray icon status excludes calculated field values, which can be automatically calculated when a user is on another instrument and saved in the background by REDCap. So if the instrument does contain some calculated fields that get values automatically calculated and saved for them, the status icon will not change to red until you navigate into the instrument and click the save button, or until you perform a data import or values into that instrument. And this would also be done by using the data quality calculation rule, which is also shown in another video as well. Okay, let's go run through. This shows a survey response, the green checks. And to actually edit this response, we can click the icon. And a note is that you will not be able to edit the survey response timestamp, nor can you copy over the response timestamp when you make a copy of the project. But other than that, everything else is fair game. Click on Edit Response and start editing records. Whether it's the record ID or any of the fields that you have. Again, you cannot edit the timestamp, especially when you're using the action tag of @now to represent the time. Let's try this for example. As you can see, there's no way to edit the time, but as you can see, we can edit any other field. And as we scroll down, we can choose our status, whether it's complete, incomplete. But for this, survey response is already completed, so you cannot edit that as well. Other icons to note is the view data history, just to basically see what any changes have been made are listed below, or a history of data has been entered for the variable for that specific record. And below that is the view comment log, which is just a talk bubble, as you can see. Right, pop-up displays all field comments for the records and fields specified below, and you can also make comments just for any changes, future changes to reminders in the record dashboard. Let's just say, for example, change for future. Okay. Again, you can view this in the field comments log for any changes or comments that you make. And let's get a quick view of the field comment log. When sifting through the field comment log, you can also filter out any of the records, the field type, or the field values, the users that make any field comments, the data access groups, and there's also a search feature in there to search for any of the field comments if you have a certain process going on. And for search tips, you can read that on your own, but basically the or and the keywords will be ignored. There's also the option of exporting an entire log. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, and the four main columns that you see will be record, field, user, date time again, and the comment itself. And once a comment has been made, you will see a yellow talk bubble next to the variable itself for that record. And let's see what other responses that we can edit while we're here. Okay. And be sure under user rights, if you would like the ability to lock the record for this form, you can do that as well. If locked, then no user will be able to edit this record on this form until someone with lock and unlock privileges unlocks it. Now let's just say lock it for now. Basically, that's just saying to lock this form, so no user will be able to edit this record. And a small note is if you have data access groups enabled, you can also change the assignment of the record to a data access group. That will also be covered in a different topic. Link will be in the description below. Okay, let's go ahead and save this record. And because we have reasons for changes enabled, we can go ahead and specify the reason. Lock. Okay, Alright, to know that your form has been changed, it will give you a green message notification saying the ID has been successfully edited. Okay, let's move on to our next point in downloading the PDF of the instruments, and we already covered basic data entry, but let's go on and see what other data entry we can do. Okay, and for looking through partial responses, we can just click the drop down to look through responses, and as you can see, forms that have not been completed will be shown on the side. Timestamps will also be shown for any forms that have been answered or filled out by survey respondents. And again, these timestamps will not be seen if it is a copied project. And you won't be able to edit it either when you're looking through the Excel import, or when you're trying to import the file and change up the timestamps. It cannot be altered. Okay. And there's also the option of adding new records. Just go ahead and add a new record just to show that. Okay. And it shows at the top, adding a new record. In our case, it is 56. And as you can tell, editing records is as easy as just clicking the buttons and making sure that your form is correct. Let's go ahead and quickly fill out this form for our required fields. And in form status, we can designate whether it is a incomplete form, unverified form, and complete form. As you saw in the record status dashboard, this would be represented by the yellow, red, or green bubble. Let's put it complete for now. Save record. Just take a look back at this record in record status dashboard, or we can look at this completed response in add and edit records. Okay, as you can see, it's at 56. And you can go back to this form anytime to change this record, either delete record of all the forms, which is basically all the instruments within that form. As you can see, we have 6 instruments. Or just delete data from this form only. As you can tell, that would be just to delete it from the instrument that we are looking at the moment. Okay. Now to see this in the record status dashboard view, we can scroll down to our form, and each bubble, as you can tell, represents each instrument or form. In this case, initial form. Let's click into that. And basically the same view that you would get when you're clicking it in add and edit records. Okay, let's click on add and edit records again, just to show a way of downloading the PDF of the instruments. This would be located at the top. We can either download the form as a blank survey, or download the forms, or all the forms and surveys as blanks. So as you can tell, if this survey is blank, it's just the instrument that you're looking at. Or for initial instrument that you're looking at. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. So just the instrument itself. And for all forms, initial form, initial survey, survey 2, and so on and so forth, survey 3, survey 4. And finally, we have our data search, which just lets us search through the fields for like a specific value that we're looking for. And just to be sure that you're looking for your correct values, you could have a tab in the open just to view the field types, just to get an idea that you are looking at your correct field types for your search. And again, it is good practice to name your variables to be clear and concise. As you can see, name, email, withdrawal date, complete study date, study comments, or second email, something in a similar. But just not to make it ultra confusing, such as just copying over or just like doing like automatic entry where it's jumbled words and letters and the data entry individual will not be able to really understand if we were to look back at it. And as you can tell, the search query is to begin typing to search the project data and click the item in the list to navigate to that record. Hit 1. It's for anything with a 1 in it, record ID. And it would just be a drop-down list to look through the search query. Okay. Okay, and to end on that, the final note is that to be sure to move your project into production status, especially if you're entering in real data, as this helps a lot as a safeguard to not accidentally change the variable names and to accidentally orphan or lose your data. And this will be the notice that you will receive if you are in development status. Project is currently in development status. Real data should not be entered, so on and so forth. Yep, and be sure to do that by going into your project setup page. Just go through the checklist, hitting I'm done when you're going through your project settings, your data collection, your optional modules and customizations. Well, your project bookmarks is optional. You can choose I'm done if you like as well. User rights and permissions. Test your project thoroughly, and move your project to production status is the final option. But make sure your user rights are enabled if you would like certain individuals within your project to enter data, edit data, or lock data in general. And of course, you can always change the user rights even after you move the project into production. So no worries. On that final note, to view more of our topics, please feel free to see our research portal or the YouTube channel. For any questions, feel free to post it into our research portal as well. Link will be in the description and in our REDCap for VCU homepage. Visit our research portal at pic.cccr.vcu.edu and feel free to log in to view more topics as well. And that pretty much covers it. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.